Hey guys, it's Kelly. Page number 7 in my mixed media mini art journal series. I titled it, I Don't Love Every Page. I don't hate this page, but I don't love it. I'll explain why as we go. So there's my book. 6 pages. Now I'm on page 7. And I knew I wanted to use, this was a page all about using my new, I've had them for a while, sea sponges. Wanted to make a tree. So I got those colors together, which is like burnt orange, burnt sienna, and antique gold. And I thought, yeah, I think I'll start with those. And then, wait a minute, you need a sky. So what I did was played with all my blues, and I wound up using like it's called Ultra Blue Deep Americana paint. And then I mixed that with Indian turquoise and just some white, all acrylic paints. Excuse me. And just sponged them on and they're natural sea sponges. I've never used them before, and this was what I learned was takes a light hand, and it's pretty obvious. You're like, okay, well, the harder you push, the bigger the impression you'll get. The lighter that it is, the more fine you'll get. Those are logical thought processes, but actually doing it is totally different. And then the angle of the brush, I love the randomness of it, but yeah, I just, I was playing and mixing my colors and trying to get a back sky, and the pressure that I was giving was just too much. But this is the background, and then when I do the tree, again, the pressure that I added was too much. So I learned from that, and this was a great page for learning, like, the amount of pressure that you put down, and what your result will be. Which you think about it, and again, it's the logic of it, but still, doing it totally different. Okay, so there's my background, a little bit darker blue than what I was liking, but, I went with it. So, and that color is, for the tree, is burnt umber. And I'm looking for my brush, and what I decided to use was a 1/2" flat brush. I love that brush. And I let the flatness of it, the shape of the brush, kind of do the work for me when I made my tree. So, and I wanted to kind of mix my own, like, richer brown up, but I knew that it was probably going to be mostly covered up as far as the tree goes. So I just went with the burnt umber. Just went with it. So, and that's just the roots. I'm kind of bringing them out at the bottom. Those will all be covered up. It needs to have that natural look about it. So there, all I'm doing is just twisting my brush to make the branches. And, I always tell you guys this, I've never gone to art school. I'm not like a, certified, educated artist. But I watch and I learn. I'm self-taught, YouTube taught. I watch the tutorials that people do, and I learn from that. So, there's nothing magic about it. I just play and let my brush do some of the work, but it took me a while to be able to make the tree and the branches like this. So I've had to practice a lot and get comfortable with it, and just let that brush be my tool and let it do its thing. But a lot of people draw it out first and then paint it in, and I just can't draw. I'm working on it. I'm practicing and sketching whenever I have, like, time, which is like never. But yeah, but I was really happy with the way the tree came out. And then I decided to use my Lumiere paint, which is metallic rust, is that color right there. And I kind of wish I didn't use any of my Lumiere paints. I think that's what went wrong with this page for me. The metallic look, wasn't really what I wanted. I thought, oh, that'll give it kind of like a nice evening glow and just a real slight shimmer, but it didn't have the result that I was hoping for. So I knew where my light source was going to be, so I was just adding, some lighter shades of brown to the left side of that tree. And it all winds up being covered up, but still. Now, I think I'll do like a tree with just, you know, a lot of branches and then put just a few leaves on there, you know, for the fall or something. Maybe that'll be another page. Yeah, and you can't, I don't think you can see it real well in the video, but yeah, wasn't that great. Okay, just trying to darken it up a little bit, but again, I knew it was going to be mostly covered up when I started sponging on the leaves, so I wasn't too, you know, meticulous about it. That is antique gold. I'm adding that to the brown because I want to do my background. Just going to have a nature themed background, a little bit more of the burnt umber. And I just have those different shades on my brush, and I'm just letting the shades kind of create that earthy background for me. And that's still just a 1/2 inch flat brush. If you're new and you're like, I don't know what brushes to buy, I want to try all this, but how do you know what brush to buy? Just, you know, within your budget. Brushes are expensive, you know, they are, and I don't buy the real expensive ones. I can't, you know, I don't. But this is just I don't know, I got it from Michaels, I think I got it in a set. But the 1/2 inch flat brush is a must. So if you're just like, I don't know what brushes to buy, a 1/2 inch flat brush is always great to have. Obviously you need some other brushes too, but that's what I used here. So that is acrylic, golden acrylic glaze, and I love that stuff. It kind of keeps the paint, lets the paint move a little easier, keeps it wet just a little bit longer. And I knew I was going to fuss with the green part of my earthy background. So I thought, you know what, I think I'll put some glaze in here and make it a little bit more workable, because all this painting kind of dries not real quick, but a little bit quicker, and I wanted it to kind of freely move around for the grassy part of my background. So I'm just mixing up my own color green until I like the feel of it. So, and then I started with the brush, and I thought, wait, you know, I really wanted to use my sponges, so I might as well just use it for this too. So I pinched it to get it into that little valley that I've got, and I want to cover up all that blue. So, and here again, I was kind of playing with the pressure and the feel of the sponge, and you know, all the randomness of the sponge and how that works with the paint. And I wound up having to fill in a little of the blue. It was still showing. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing this page. I really, really needed my creative downtime, and just to relax and create something nice. It felt fantastic. It only took me about like an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Because you know me, I fuss over stupid little things. But it's all part of the process, and I loved it. So now I'm just adding some highlights, and then whoop, overdid it. And that's the antique gold. My thought for this page was to have it be like an evening scene and have the moon out, and then just some real subtle highlights and just some, you know, yellow little bursts of nature happening, you know. They're weeds, but they sure are pretty. But I was a little disappointed because the sky looks a little bit, I don't know. And then the moon that I wound up creating was a little not what I wanted, but it worked out. So those colors, the greens that I'm using, again, I wish I would have laid off on the Lumiere, but you know, these were the closest greens I had to what I was looking for. So it's metallic olive green and citrine. And I chose a different sponge for this one that had like more of the tips on it. And it started out nice, And yep, should have stopped right there. Should have stopped right there. Looks great. I'm pushing a little too hard here and there. And the Lumiere paint, I should have used the glaze on. It would have spread it evenly. It's a thicker body paint. And yeah. And the sheen, I didn't like the sheen, the metallic sheen. I thought I would. It wound up not working out for me. So that's just my ivory acrylic paint and antique gold. And I'm just using my 1/2 inch flat brush to just have a moon peeking in off the page. I wound up being a little bit too yellow. And I fussed with it, you know, white and gray, and I added all kinds of colors. And you'll see that. But I want it to look like, you know, similar to like a big yellow moon just rising. But I wound up covering it mostly over with clouds anyway, so in the end, that's kind of how it works, right? I mean, you make something in the background, you're like, ooh, I really like that, and by the time you're done, you've covered up most of it. Like the branch process that I made of the tree, I was like, oh, I really like how that turned out nice. Let's cover it up. But so I just, I'm mixing up a gray that I like to add to the moon. Because the moon has those gray spots, and that's what I was trying to recreate. Wrong brush. I should have used a smaller brush, like a little, you know, round brush. But I was just using the corner. I just wanted little ones in there. And there was a lot of paint on that moon. It was kind of built up, gave it a little bit of dimension, and I kind of liked that. I was like, yeah, that'll work. I wasn't done with the moon just yet. I was going to fuss with it. So here I go with my sponge, and I'm wanting to add highlights. And the sponge that I used put big dots on the tree. And I didn't like that. I wanted it like it looks at the bottom. I wanted it to have like that real, just a dusted look. So it had the highlights. But no, it wound up looking like I got some kind of flower on my tree. So, but, you know, that's the randomness of using a sponge. So I just had to go with it. And I'll explain what I did to that tree in the end. Because there's some video that got lost on this. The memory card was full on my camera. So it lost some of it, but I'll go through it. So there I'm just adding highlights on the mountains in the background, giving it some depth and dimension, trying to. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm fussing with the moon again. Add in some white, some antique gold, some ivory. Okay, this, I've just got my tweezers, and I've got a really tiny piece of the sponge that was like almost going to fall off, so I just pulled it off and thought, oh, it's kind of a nice little piece, and it's like perfect for making the little clouds that I want on this page. So I just put it in my tweezers, and yeah, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have put that in the tree, but put it on my tweezers, and yeah, I dropped it like twice on the picture, and but still, it was, you know, again, it was about, hey, let's use these sponges and see how they work. So, and it was, I liked how that little itty bitty sponge worked out, but it really does soak up the paint. I wound up throwing it away. It's just a real small piece, but it wound up being all right. And what I'm using to make my clouds is just, I've got some white, some antique gold, and ivory. And I put it in the tree and then thought, oh, great, well, I guess that's where my sentiment's going to go. Because I got a big white blob in my tree. And I can't tell if it's in there right now. But I'm so excited. I actually finally got some Inktense watercolor pencils, or Inktense pencils. Just a set of 12. I got it for like 17 bucks or 16 bucks. And I've wanted them for so long, and now I'm all like afraid to play with them. But I can't tell if I did it now or not. But I used like my black and then the red one, and I just used a real fine brush and some water right off of the pencils. I added little, like, almost like little fruits in the tree, and then highlighted the mountains in the background. So, and there's the light, the reflection on the tree, and that's what does it. That's the magic that makes it fit into the picture. Without that little reflection on the tree, it wouldn't work. So you can see the little dots of red in the tree. So I thought, well, it looks like there's fruits in there. Let's add some fruits. And then I used my Inktense pencils to add dimension to the mountains in the background. You can see some are darker than the others. So I hope you like page 7. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked it, don't forget to like and leave me a comment and share it. Thanks, guys.